as a quality of beauty and intensity to emotion. Poet carefully chooses and arranges language for its meaning. Ladies and gentlemen, this session is going to be a special one. Well, I would like to leave it on you to find out how special this is going to be. We feel honored to have with us our guests, Tara Noizantara, Prachi Lee, Tui Han, Juan Sklal. Now I would like to say a few words about Tara Noizantara. Tara Noizantara is an Indonesian novelist and poet. Her literary cultural essays have been published in Java Post and Surabaya Post. Her short stories and novels are frequently staged on mini theatre. Her love for dancing and acting started from the Zero Theatre and Theatre Institute Surabaya. Tara is a former journalist editor of Surya Surabaya and now teaches drama appreciation and literary criticism. So ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Tara Noizantara.
The flowers of the earth wilted and fallen. Figures have long been known. I have will disappeared before the wedding. I give up. This is not my pleasure, but the will of God for neglecting the promise. Duh Gusti, nyuwun pepajar kawula sumarang ngarsa nika lamun menika garising pesti. Oh my God, please let me know if this is destiny. Remove nail cuttings and pins of hair in your gold box. The letter of the soul is fulfilled. I'll run your way to the jungle, down the river, the top of the mountain, the dark of the cave, lonely. In the silence of the hymn of the soul, to live your love and the edge of the ocean. The essence of the teaching of the holy teaching. Feel the good sake of my blood, for the sake of Nagari who is giving up this. The complacency is high in the rain. My tears hide my comfort on the inner heart room. I never quit. The little given craving of man's presence inculcates me, looking for the life trace of example not controlled by lust. Mantra are echoed. There is no deserted horizon visible. The country is wrapped in a pallid. My cunning desires only listen to the throne. The divinity of human harmony and the word of nature. Placement the air, truth and justice overpower hypocrisy. Where are you, my love? You keep asking for the love of interpreting the sky. Infiltrate the west, east, north and south gates every night to dawn as well as soon and dusk. Attacked by rain, hurricanes stick forth your breath, dust on my breath. Stand silent, silence out in the real sense. Satria Sakti, refine your essence. Kang Mas, my soul, dream of me, Nimas, with the dream of wayang, mat, gamelan, Garuda, curved brides, Garuda, dragon, and Bilmana. I know your suffering should send you to collect heaven's promise. I know that your soul of your heart picked me up from the womb. It's been a while. Nimas Sekartajimu faithfully waits for your breath.
Well, thank you so much for this beautiful performance. This performance was really heart-touching. Thank you so much for once again for being here and make this festival more beautiful. Now I'd like to say about a few words about Prachli. Prach is an internationally renowned, critically acclaimed award-winning artist. His debut album is the first one rap album in Cambodia. Newsweek described him as the first Cambodian rap star. Through masterful lyrics of powerful rap music, his music not only entertains but also educates. His lyrics has been published widely and is currently being used for Southeast Asian studies. In 2004, he went on a 23 states tour across the United States and was a subject for Japan's documentary film, which won NHK's Best Documentary of the Year in 2004. His lectures at prestigious institutions and Ivy League universities, from the Smithsonian in DC to the International Freedom to Write Festival at Brown to the Scholars at Risk at Harvard. He is the co-founder, co-director of the Cambodia Town Film Festival. Now, I would like to invite Prachli to please come up on stage and take the stage. We are extremely sorry. For some reason, he is not being able to be here. So, I would like to now request Tenjing Shunde sir. Before I would like to request him to come up on stage, I am saying a few words about him. Tenjing Shunde, a Tibetan writer and activist, is the author of 4 books of poetry and a collection of short stories. He is now working on his 5th, a book of Tibetan refugee stories. Shunde has designed workshops in creative writing, short and medium course for schools and colleagues. Crossing the Border and Kora, stories and poems are some of his important works. Shunde's writing have inspired plays, films, and comic books. He is winner of Picador Outlook Prize for Non-Fiction 2001. Shunde has been invited as a guest speaker at various literary festivals, including Brahmaputra Literary Fest, Guwahati 2016, and this year. So kindly, sir, please come up on stage.
This is a little prayer in praise of our spiritual political leader, His Holiness the Dalai Lama. I'm going to read a couple of poems tonight. What I have here on my shoulder is a symbol of our hope of returning home one day. This is the Tibetan national flag. So today there are 1 lakh Tibetan refugees living in India. We are refugees. When the Tibetans first came from Tibet, at the plains of Assam in Buxar, number of Tibetans were stationed. It was the transit camp. And from there they were later rehabilitated to South India, Central India, and many places in the Himalayas. So when my parents first came from Tibet, they were road construction laborers. And they were coolies, basically. They built roads in Sikkim, Ladakh, Himachal, many other places. So I've written this poem in a way how we describe ourselves. When we were little kids in school, our teachers very often used to say that there is an R on our forehead, R meaning refugees. But for us, refugees did not mean, even today, anything weak or poor or sickly or anything demeaning. For us, refugees mean that it is great sense of hope that one day we will go home, and for that we all have to work. So in this poem, I'm redefining that R. When I was born, my mother said, "You are a refugee." Our tent on the roadside smoked in the snow. On your forehead, between your eyebrows, there is an R embossed. My teacher said, I scratched and scrubbed on my forehead. I found a brash of red paint. I am born refugee. I have 3 tongues. The one that sings is my mother tongue. There are on my forehead between my Hindi and English. The Tibetan tongue reads Rangzin. Freedom means Rangzin. So in one poem, I changed the definition from English language R, refugee, to Tibetan language R, Rangzin. So at least after this, you will go back with one Tibetan word, Rangzin, freedom, Rangzin. For my master's degree, for my higher education, I went to Bombay. And at that time, it was still Bombay. I was doing my MA in English literature. I made friends with so many people in writing. I was fortunate that at the time there were people like Nissim Ezekiel, Dom Morath, Arun Kulatkar, Dilip Chitre, all these famous and most important Indian writers in English. They were alive and I made friends with them. We used to have readings in rich people's homes in what is called high teas and early suppers. So because I didn't have a place to stay, I didn't have money to rent places. So I quite often felt like saying, can I stay in your house? You have such a nice place. So I felt that was such a nice sentiment. And later I wrote a poem out of that. My proposal to say, can I stay in your house? I made 20 handwritten copies and gave it to 20 rich friends who had big houses. And gave it to them as my proposal. Now I'll tell you the results of that later. I'll read the proposal first. So the proposal says, pull your ceiling halfway down and you can create a mezzanine for me. Your walls open into cupboards. Is there an empty shelf for me? Let me grow in your garden with your roses and prickly pears. I'll sleep under your bed and watch TV in the mirror. Do you have an ear on your balcony? I am singing from your window. Open your door. Let me in. I am resting at your doorstep. Call me when you are awake. Now look at the audacity of this poet. He goes up to some of his friends and asks them, did you consider my proposal? And they were saying, attention, what proposal? I said, Are, the proposal I gave you in the form of a poem. Did you consider? And they were saying, oh, I thought it was just a poem. Returning home and then staying. Now, exile is a strange world, and I'm fascinated by this. Because here is a group of people who are not here where the reality is. Because our aspiration is in Tibet. And we are not there because realistically we cannot go there. So we seem to be living between the reality of today and the dream of returning. We seem to be absent in both the places. And that is a funny living. And I write about these strange creatures who live in dreams. And very often we talk about home. What is a home? So I wrote a poem called Exile House. My parents, like many other Tibetan refugees, they live in Karnataka, in a refugee camp. So I wrote this poem as a kind of a tribute, or how funny I find the exile living. And in this, it's a very short poem. There's a Tibetan word used, changma. Now changma is a vegetative middle-height tree, which is planted mostly on the fences, around a house, in a bagicha. So that is changma. So the poem, Exile House. Our tiled roof ripped, and the four walls threatened to fall apart. But we were to go home soon. We grew papayas in front of our house, chilies in our garden, and changmas for our fences. Then pumpkins rolled down the cowshed thatch. Calves trotted out of the manger. Grass on the roof, beans sprouted and climbed down the vines. Money plants crept in through the window. Our house seems to have grown roots. The fences have grown into a jungle. Now, how can I tell my children where we come from? My last poem. This is about Dharamshala, and it's a very small hill town in Himachal Pradesh where I live, where our leader, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, lives there, and some of you must have visited Dharamshala. I know Cherrapunji is quite near from here, but Dharamshala has the reputation of being the second highest amount of rain receiving there in Dharamshala. And from July, August and September, 3 months of torrential rain there. And in case if you would like to visit Dharamshala, do not come there with cheap Chinese umbrellas. They go tatters. You need aapko chahiye Jalandhar ka chhata. Wo lamba wala. So if you are visiting Dharamshala during the rainy season, come at that time. Because Dharamshala is most beautiful during the rainy season. It's not the rains, it's in between the rains when the rains have stopped, when the sky is clear, and from the height of McLeodganj, the hill town, you could see the Kangra Valley in minute details down there. You could even count houses, which one has chimneys with small wisps of smoke coming up, and in between the pinewood forest, you could see small stretches of the road where HRTC, the state bus, comes in and vanishes into the... And further down there, you see Kangra Valley. You could see Pong Lake. There's a lake there, which is seen only during rainy season from that height. And beyond the lake, you could see small rivulets feeding into the lake. And this is only half the scenario. You turn, look up. The mighty, majestic Doladar mountain range. On top is the snow-peaked mountain, then the Rocky Mountains. Then you could also see this pinewood forest, rhododendrons. And also you get to see McLeodganj with the TV tower and Airtel tower and all of that. So this is about Dharamshala. And it's also about a room I have rented where I live. So this is called When It Rains in Dharamshala. When it rains in Dharamshala, raindrops wear boxing gloves. Thousands of them come crashing down and meet my room. Under its tin roof, my room cries from inside and wets my bed, my papers. Sometimes the clever rain comes from behind my room. The treacherous walls lift their heels and allow a small flood into my room. I sit on my island nation bed and watch my country in flood. Notes on freedom, memoirs of my prison days, letters from college friends, crumbs of bread and Maggi noodles, rice, sprightly to the surface, like a sudden recovery of a forgotten memory. 3 months of torture, monsoon in the needle-leaved pines, Himalaya, rinsed clean, glistens in the evening sun. Until the rain calms down and stops beating my room, I need to console my tin roof, who has been on duty from the British Raj. This room has sheltered many homeless people, now captured by mongooses and mice, lizards and spiders, and partly rendered by me. A rendered room for a home is a humbling existence. My Kashmiri landlady at 80 cannot return home. We often compete for beauty, Kashmir or Tibet. Every evening I return to my rented room. But I'm not going to die this way. There has got to be some way out of here. I cannot cry like my room. I have cried enough in prisons and in small moments of despair. There has got to be some way out of here. I cannot cry. My room is wet enough. There are so many young people here. I want to inspire you to write poetry. Attempt it. Because poetry is the highest art. That day, on the first day, I was saying, poetry is the language of imagination. Poetry is the word, is one art which can create what is not there, what had never been said, what had never been imagined. Impossible things can be done only with poetry. This is the gift of art. This is the gift of, if you like to say, gift of God. But this is coming from us, from within us. And in my own small effort, I have been living the life of the minstrels. Do you know, the old-time poets and minstrels who live purely out of writing? I do this. I have this book of poems called Kora. I've been living out of this for the past 15 years, only on this. I get this printed for 9 rupees a copy in Dharamshala and sell it for 50 rupees. I make a clean profit of 41 rupees. It's a transparent business. I do no other jobs because I'm a full-time activist in the Tibetan freedom movement. But what I do is I get them printed and reprinted. This is the 13th edition. People say poetry does not sell, but I am proving that poetry sells and it is a sexy work. I have so far sold 34,000 copies of this, and this is being sold in 15 languages. Self-published, not published by any big names, but my own effort. I love this work and I continue to do this. People may find it very difficult to imagine for 15 years you're living on one book, but it's possible because I have shaped my life simple and minimalized down to 2 pairs of clothes. I have 2 shirts and 2 jeans. I wear them in turns. Very often people look at me and they think, अरे अब बोलते भी हैं इसका तो एक ही कपड़ा है, हमेशा एक ही कपड़े पहनता है. उनको पता नहीं है कि मेरे पास ऐसे 2 हैं और वो मैं अगली बदली करके पहनता हूँ. So it's a very small, simple life, but with this, the best thing is because you are not then worried with other things in life, or you have all the time, effort, emotion, and the intellect to contribute to society. And this is the main source of happiness with me. Thank you. Buy a copy, it's there. Buy a copy. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, sir, for your encouraging, impactful, productive words. We are happy to have you here. Now, I would like to request to come up on stage Tui Hang ma'am. Tui Hang, graduate of the University of Fine Arts in Ho Chi Minh City. Nguyen Tui Hang is a writer, poet, and visual artist. Her first trilogy, Current Times, Good Sensations, and Reasonable Insanity, written during a 2-year adventure in USA, was published in 2006. On her return to Vietnam in 2005, Han moved to Hanoi and completed 2 more books and also solo exhibition, the Gang Sculpture installation at Viet Arts Center. We haven't been able to sleep in 2008, and They, The Powder of the Illusory in 2013 are her other books. In 2017, she also released 3 authors, Vietnamese contemporary literature published by Vagabond Press, Asia Pacific, Australia. She is currently working in Saigon. So ma'am, please come up on stage. Give her a big round of applause.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming and listening to us. So tonight, I would like to invite two artists from Vietnam, Mr. Nguyễn Quý Đức and Đỗ Tường Linh, to join with me. Yeah. So.
Cửa sổ. When the tide is high, where the wind over 600,000 kilometers
không tìm thấy
sweeping the universe,
kẻ câm nín,
I think I will be blown away like a piece of paper.
Stinky.
In the dark edges of the planet, I turn over stages as long as a century.
Then it was spring, the season when the greenery burgeons
Slowly, the
and
way
this
I
first
see the
deadly
world.
pollen inside the depths of his face.
Here only the
And
lions
then
live
my
with
throat
honor.
had consumed those pink
Lies
dusts in the
break down.
midst of spring.
The weather forecast has
We
shown strong wind
itching
blowing from its
and
daytime
tingle
to
with
nighttime.
thoughts
Hi.
of instability
Escape.
for a lengthy season.
The previous researchers
I
have
cannot
shown that
see
this planet is influenced by the tidal lock.
Clouds from the mountain top. In the storm.
The daytime
I should try
sign is
to
green
explain.
because of the light
They
scattered
command,
from the fog,
control.
containing
The
silicates in the
rain pours
atmosphere.
down, blows away entire tent.
In the end, we would melt some
Underneath.
liquid to assist anyone
The
who wanted to
human
be
body
dark
is
horses
buried
like
deep.
us.
In the
While the
ground.
high
Then
temperature of the
you would
planet
become
makes the
a
nighttime
true
sign
warrior.
glow
Traffic.
into
Fight
the
the
red
battles
color.
with your own warm
Living.
blood without hearing anyone ramble
I still
about
cannot
the
see.
mysteries of life.
The iceberg is flowing.
No, I don't do it.
By the west edge of
Yes.
the ice field
The
called Sputnik
separation of the
Platinum,
row of the
large
trees
streets of
from
ice
this
may
book.
have been cracked and
To make a
repositioned,
stranger
which make the
want to wear
topography
the
turn
man's
convex.
shirt. It sticks, not tried yet. Worn out, sharply.
The edge of the
storm
iceberg
is about to
lying in
threaten the
pairs.
city.
Between the
Some is
realm.
at high at 5
Oh,
kilometers and one at 40
humankind.
kilometers, forming in mountains extending to the flattening delta.
I still cannot see.
The storm
The
is coming.
nearest was Dragon.
It has to come.
Sad.
A new
Look in
analysis has
darkness.
shown that Sputnik
Appear
Platinum
hazy.
is only 100,000 million years
hands.
old.
It has to convolve and to
It
bring
seems like it
something
has only
along
been born
as it
yesterday.
dissolves.
Get real close.
This is a
You
great
don't turn
discovery.
on Surface.
This small
Come,
planet could still
come,
function on
come
a large
closer.
scale up to a billion years of
Poetry,
formation.
cruel with
And once
ocean
it crawls
is
its way
buried.
onto the floor, makes its way towards the front door, it licks human feet, it hoists and hauls humans up in their pillows and blankets. As I be seated herein
I
in an
cannot
afternoon
see.
of winter, given
narrow
warmth by the
underground
sun.
passes. Just thinking
Some
about
part
this
in the
place
surface
puts
of
me
Pluto,
into
such as
contemplation.
Sputnik
A
Planet
The
Delta,
old days feel the way
has
destroyed
a
from
flat
the
terrain
inside.
like the
They
outer
break.
roof and look exactly like the skin of a snake.
They have removed
Some got
the
torn
pain,
with giant
reverse,
crack.
dew chops, water, shadow, this
Like little fossa in West
Exile.
Sputnik Platinum.
I stand amongst the branches
crystal,
that I just
ran
planted.
out of roof.
I see that somebody had
The
dropped
house
a box of
full
cannery
of
ads
yellow
and
powder,
planted
the
in me a
memory.
life and an eye of abnormality.
What does
Now
it have to do
I
with
can
this massive
see
spoiled fish
the war.
flowing in this lake?
Had to fight
Or the
back.
mud excavator in the
Day
process of
after
dredging,
day.
which had left a trauma to the lake, not only changing the lake, but accidentally digging too deep into the heart of the lake. Individuals who had been hurt for such a long time, and once in a while pop up out sudden.
Khi quỹ đạo bình ổn, các tầng khí quyển thanh lọc và tạo ra nhiều lớp khí có nhiều màu sắc khác nhau.
Not creating a
Khi đó,
smallish shock
hắn
that
sẽ
the
liên
fish
tục
are dying in
thay
mass,
đổi
but just
từ
spotting
xanh
here and there
sang
some
vàng.
bubbling bellies.
Hoặc có nồng độ ấm. Như nước trái cây ủ lâu năm, hắn sẽ tự cô đặc thành một hợp chất đặc biệt.
The
It
cracks
compels
could be
me to
formed
retell the
when the
stories
planets
of
are
them.
expanding and
Hoặc
breaking.
thay
This
đổi
present
bất cứ một
moment
chất nào hắn
for a
muốn.
comprehensive tale to be
Những hình thù
spoken.
này sẽ đi
Please
vào
hold
buổi
on to
chiều,
me for a
rồi
moment.
ngọn đèn đường
I
đổ
have
xuống
got to
trên cửa
light a
sổ.
cigarette. I need to
phòng
take this
tắm.
well
Hắn
drunken
thấy mình
puff.
già đi trong thành phố phương
Please
Bắc,
get your posture
tự hỏi làm
corrected.
sao để đứng giữa cơn
Are
sóng
your
đó,
perky ears all
trong khi bả vai
up-tuned?
nhanh chóng vặn xoắn vào nhau.
If the layer of Pluto cover an ocean of water, like the research team's speculation, when this ocean slowly freezes and grows, it could put pressures on the cover and accelerate the birth of giant cracks. The thin cold atmosphere. The rainbow clouds appear in Jamaican sky. Rainbow clouds normally accompany storms due to being pushed upwards. The air above the clouds spread out and become cool. This happening until the moisture in the air become condensed, create a cloud in the shape of cone head. The exterior of the cloud is multicolored due to internal crystal diffusing the sunlight. This is just a story of someone who is in their early 20s. The following days lays down. The old afternoon normally are very sad inside the bathroom. Somewhere the leftover lies scattered like straws could be covered by something to see the camouflage pattern on the flesh. His skin is bright and smooth, just like being sprinkled by a layer of powder. When the orb is stabilized, the coating of the atmosphere and purifying and layering and create a layer of air in different colors. At that time, he will constantly evolve from green to yellow, or have a high concentration, like a long brew juice. He will then consolidate himself into compound, special enough to self-transform into a flora, or any material he wants. The fugal will go in the afternoon. Then the street lamps fall over. In the window of the bathroom, he sees himself getting old in the northern city, wondering how to stand in the middle of that tornado, while the shoulder quickly twists together, speeding up to become a funnel-shaped inox block, soaked in the smell of blood and soul. If there is not time to collect the luggage or remember about someone else, he also left his homeland from there.
Page 92. You send unto me the silence of time, when your steps are settled upon a misty summit, or when your feet stride across a grand bridge that arches across various lands, or when your eyes catch sight of a transfixed bird upon the roof. You claim to have all the time you're in. You could get through the whole night without hunger. You could listen to a tune playing over and over again. You practice with passion upon your contemplation. You're willing to walk the edge with everything that you've got. I claim the question, why is it that we have become uncanny, possess an eye of brightness, an ear capable of miserable cries, of lonesome sorrow, an ear capable of every cosmic